All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to be talking about the Las Vegas Raiders 63-21 absolute blowout victory against Los Angeles Chargers this past Thursday night. What's weird is even though the final score 63-21, I still feel like that doesn't even really showcase how dominant the Raiders were on both sides of the football. It was beautiful, and we'll talk about my opinions on Antonio Pierce and the future of Aidan O'Connell, both their futures on this team later on in the video, but you could not have asked for more. Aidan O'Connell, 20 of 34, 248 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Jakobi Meyers had a touchdown throw. Zamir White without Josh Jacobs. This was a career game for Zamir White. 17 carries, 69 yards, and a touchdown. I think for me, most importantly, is we learned a couple of things. First off, I loved the rookie production offensively. I know Zamir White's in his second season, but big game for him. Trey Tucker, huge game for him. Michael Mayer, huge game for him. And then the defense is continuing to demonstrate that not only are they statistically a top 10 defense in this league, they're an above average defense and their future is extremely bright. Malcolm Koonce has been on absolute fire. Jack Jones with one of the craziest interception catches I've ever seen with my own two eyes. If this wasn't such a blowout victory, that would be getting talked about a lot more, and it was talked about a lot. But I mean, the freak athleticism to catch that ball is just absolutely insane. But guys, the future of the Raiders is still very bright. First things first, before we get any further into tonight's video, if you guys enjoy, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Raiders Nation, if we could try and get this video to 250 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. So for me, momentum is huge because we've got guys like Davante Adams on this roster, Max Crosby on this roster, Josh Jacobs on this roster. There is so much talent on this team that we want to keep this momentum heading into the offseason because I want to retain all of these players. And I genuinely believe that with the right coach and with the right quarterback, the right culture set in place without Josh McDaniels, obviously, that was just a whole dumpster fire of a situation. This team can make some noise next year and for years to come. So let's take a little bit more into some of these rookie stat lines. Trey Tucker, 3 catches, 59 yards, and 2 touchdowns. This dude has freak speed. And heading into this football game, he had a couple of good games early on in the season against the Patriots, 2 catches for 57 yards. Against the Giants earlier in the season, 2 catches for 52 yards. But for me personally, especially with his speed, I was hyping this dude up all offseason because I thought he was going to have a huge impact on this Raiders team. Whether he wasn't used right or whatever, it doesn't matter. This was Trey Tucker's welcome to the NFL game. 2 touchdowns. I mean, there's 3 games left in the season, guys. Getting these guys' confidence and momentum heading into next year is absolutely critical. So I absolutely loved the 3 catches, 59 yards, and 2 touchdowns from Trey Tucker. Then we also had Michael Mayer, 4 catches, 39 yards, and a touchdown. He also has had a pretty underwhelming rookie season. There's just been a lot of dysfunctionality within, the Raiders front office, the Raiders offense in general all season. So having Michael Mayer get going is extremely important to me. He's had a couple of good games, against the Patriots, 5 catches, 75 yards, but that was many months ago. Great game, 4 catches, 39 yards, and a touchdown. That is stuff that works for me. Now, defensively, they put on a masterclass performance. They had 5 total turnovers. They sacked to the QB 3 times. They were all over him, however. They were literally all over Malcolm Koonce, Max Crosby. These guys did not give up an inch. 5 forced fumbles, the interception, and they had 2 total touchdowns. The thick 6 and Jack Jones's pick 6. This is huge, man. The Raiders defense heading into this season and the Raiders defense in general, when we look at the past 20 years, it's always been their issue. They have these competent offenses, Derek Carr especially, and the defense, it felt like, always lets them down. This season, it has been the complete flip-flop, all right? The Raiders offense is putting up just 19 points per game. That's 25th in the NFL. They're only giving up 20 points on defense. That's 8th in the league. Their defense, even with statistics aren't all that great, but the eye test proves to me that there are pieces on this team that are going to make an impact. And if they can continue to bolster it, fill in the holes, improve week to week, game by game, whatever, season to season, I think the future of this defense is extremely bright. Antonio Pierce has done a phenomenal job this season since he's come in, especially as interim head coach, to get this defense just hungry. Get hungry, man. I loved what I saw. Five forced fumbles. I don't care if you're playing Justin Herbert. I don't care if you're playing a backup quarterback. It doesn't matter. The defense was all over it. So this has a lot of Raiders fans kind of questioning a couple of things. Now we're still going to learn we're still going to learn all this stuff. You got a really difficult 3 game stretch. All 3 of them playoff teams, 2 games on the road. Next Monday night, you take on divisional rival the Kansas City Chiefs. You follow that up on New Year's Eve at the Indianapolis Colts, and then the final game of the season at home against the Denver Broncos. This is, I mean, Antonio Pierce is coaching for his job, and Aidan O'Connell is kind of playing for, not necessarily 100% the starting role next season, but I got to say, heading into this game, I did not think Antonio Pierce was going to be the guy. I think Antonio Pierce is a great leader of men. However, I did hear like a comparison saying, substitute teacher, these guys, kind of just rubs off. Eventually, you want to play hard for Antonio Pierce. You want to play hard because it's not Josh McDaniels. Get that momentum going back, get that swagger back. But I don't think Antonio Pierce is the future coach of the Raiders. Now, I will say this, if they could go out there and actually get a Ben Johnson, if they could go out there and get a great offensive mind, I would feel a little bit differently. However, even with that being said, the last 2 head coaches, Gruden, who I think did a phenomenal job, and I hate that departure. I hate how that whole situation ended. I would actually love John Gruden to be the head coach of the Raiders next season and for the foreseeable future. Especially Josh McDaniels, like it's this offensive guru. It's this genius offensive mind. And this season, since Tom Brady retired and since Josh McDaniels was in his second year, we're kind of learning a couple of things like, oh, you know what? Maybe it wasn't always Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels. Maybe it really was Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the clear-cut GOAT at this point. So I understand a lot of the skepticism saying, oh, well, I want an offensive-minded head coach with a bright futured quarterback. But at the same time, I certainly understand some of the skepticism because of Josh McDaniels' tenure. And he was, this certified, offensive genius. There's no offensive mind like Josh McDaniels out there. So this is still stuff we're going to learn as the final 3 games progress. As far as Aidan O'Connell goes, I still don't really know what to do with it. The Raiders offensive line, especially going up against Khalil Mack, they did a phenomenal job. And I think everybody would at least agree with the statement of if Aidan O'Connell is given enough time, he can certainly make some throws. However, the way the NFL is drifting, the way it's changing, I wouldn't put all my eggs in the Aidan O'Connell basket. I don't necessarily need this freak mobile QB, especially with injury concerns, but I'm still not sold on Aidan O'Connell being QB1 of this team next season. I would rather, draft a QB somewhat early. Doesn't have to be the first round, but I'd take a QB second, third, at latest fourth round and let these young QBs battle it out in training camp and in the preseason. So let me know what you guys are thinking. Nonetheless, this was a huge statement victory. Great win. Best win of the season. That's it for me. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content, and we will see you next time.